Halo, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you everyone for coming to my personal channel, Emil Fahmi Yahyas channel. Where in this channel we are committing ourselves to always learn something new every day, so we can always improving ourselves and makes and we are more human when we are always doing our responsibility to humanizing human in this art of mankind. Okay. Um, for today, I think it's a good time to talk about the Indonesia's export ban. Yeah, it's about the cheap copper and it's the recent issues that global society, especially in business, is keep their eye on Indonesia because of this export ban. And is this Indonesia's export ban will lead into the end of cheap copper in the near future? Let's see then dive deeper. For several information as a background understanding why it could lead to the end of the cheap copper because of this Indonesia's export ban. First thing first, we need to understand that copper concentrates cannot directly use in the industry to produce to produce the end product. The copper concentrates, they are requiring the further work to increase their purity, and usually the industry smelt it and refine it into the copper cathodes first, which then they are using in the cathode for the various applications such as electrical wiring, plumbing, roofing, coins, and etc., especially for the electrical industry. Nah, and now Indonesia has two major copper mines. Besides Indonesia is the largest producer in the world. Indonesia has two major copper mines. The first thing is Grasberg, second is Batu Hijau. The Grasberg itself is the world's largest gold mine and also the largest copper mine. They are owned by Freeport-McMoRan and Indonesia's state-owned company. The second is Batu Hijau. Batu Hijau is owned by Aman Mineral, which is will be doing IPO in 2023. Both of them produce the copper concentrates that they will export it to the smelters in the other country, especially smelters in China. Next, what is the impact and what's the thing about this export ban policy? We need to understand that Indonesia is now ongoing to downstream most of their industries because to face the challenge in 2045, around for 20 years or decades from now, Indonesia need to do more value added to their industries. So Indonesia is now really pushing every opportunity that can lead to the more downstream of product in their country. So extractive industries in Indonesia maybe is already in the sunset because everything is now need to be processed first before exporting it to the other country. Yeah. Uh, According to this policy, especially the copper, ban on the export unrefined materials will be starting from 2023, but it's effective in reality in 2024. Yeah, because in 2024, uh, two biggest company in Indonesia that doing the copper extraction, they are already finished their smelters. So when Freeport already producing the copper cathode at around 2.4 million ton per year, and the Aman already planning and finishing the build of 1.3 million ton per year smelter in Sumbawa, Indonesia will absolutely stop exporting copper concentrates and process them domestically instead, which is expected to be operated in 2024. Maybe around the months of May or June, yeah, around 1 year from now. Nah, what's the supply and demand implication from this? According to the research from CRU group that I had found, uh, they said that Indonesia's copper transition will have significant implication for both supply and demand, maybe shaking the entire commodity of the metals. Yeah. Why? First thing first, we see on the supply side, because if Indonesia as the largest copper concentrates production in the world, reduce the availability of the concentrate itself for smelters on the country, especially in China, there will be a sudden shortage of material. and that will drive up that the charge miner for processing their country. So the China's smelting the China smelting, especially in copper, will be in a doom. On the other hand, Indonesia's new smelters uh, will be increasing the production of the refined product of the copper cathodes, because before every people in the world, every industry in the world that need copper cathodes need to get it from China, and that there and inside the cost itself, uh, there should be a component of transportation from Indonesia to China, smelting it and then buy it. After Indonesia finishing the smelter, the cost of transportation uh, will be rid off. So after there are no cost of this transportation aspect to get the copper cathodes, it will potentially lower the price of the entire metal industries because Indonesia is the biggest player here. The second thing is we can see from the demand side, especially inside the Indonesia itself, Indonesia's export policy ban will affect its domestic consumption of the metal because of why. Again, according to the research, Indonesia's refined copper demand is expected to grow. It will be more than 50% growth in 10 years from 2020 to 2030. It will be around 900 kilotons per year of the demand from the copper cathodes. And this will be why? Because it will be driven by the infrastructure development projects such as power plant, railways, port, industrial zones that had been planned by the government. However, I think, and this research also thinks that this demand may not be enough to absorb all of the Indonesia's refined copper production. According to their estimates, Indonesia's refined copper will have a surplus of 1.2 million ton per year by 2023-2030. So it will have a drawback also, even though the industry will have a cheaper copper cathodes and there will be no more cheap ores like copper concentrates, Indonesia will have to find new market because there will be uh, it's an excess of the refined copper, or Indonesia should be store it as inventory and use it for a long-term use. Because if Indonesia is not doing that, it will be a boomerang for Indonesia, or it will be a backfire if Indonesia doesn't find the new market to buy their copper cathodes after the smelting effective running around 5 years. So, what is the opportunities and risks if you want to join this party, guy? Uh, First thing first, it should always depends on your risk appetite and your time horizon. Uh, for example, if you are a short-term gainer, if you find the opportunity in the short time, this will create a volatility in the market because sudden shortage of copper raw material in 2024. So after this Indonesia's export ban, you could expecting that you can gain some profit from the volatility. For example, you could short the future. You could short the future contracts of the copper mining. So if you short the future contract of the copper mining, and it will be it will be ripened in 2024. You can expect some kind of huge profit if you are accurate in expecting the time. If you are accurate in timing to do the short play in here. Yeah. Or vice versa. It will be also give a sudden it will give also a sudden burst of the price. The price will be flying soar, and if deals will be happen, it will be better if you are buying the copper itself and sell it when the world need it the most. However, it won't be interesting if you are finding a long-term returns. Why? Because I think it will be safer and it will be more certain if you are investing in the company itself. For example, you can always buy the shares of Freeport-McMoRan or the Inalum from the state-owned company in Indonesia, or you can wait for the IPO of Aman Mineral, which owned Grasberg, on the Medco Energy, who had their shares on Aman Mineral. This company will be absolutely benefit from the increased value added and the lower transportation cost that we had talked before. The other thing is, if you're not interested to invest in the company itself, in the core business of the copper itself, you could always find the opportunity to investing in the supplying or the supporting services of the Indonesian's copper business, such as Singhan. Because of why? Because it's impossible if the smelting is running by themselves. They need a third party, they need a maintenance, they need a support which is providing the technology and engineering to make sure the smelting is also going well and hit the production target. Yeah, these companies will could also benefit from the growing demand and smelting and refining capacity in Indonesia. Of course, yeah, investing in all of that, either you are finding the short-term gain or the long-term gain, there are not without the risk. And I think the biggest risk in Indonesia is geopolitical risk because this is highly sensitive. Indonesia is already at a cold war with WTO, World Trade Organization, because of this copper ban. Therefore, investing in Indonesia's copper industry, you should do your own research and due diligence, especially if you are finding the opportunities in the short term gain. If you want to short the future contracts of the copper, especially because uh, a sudden change in the geopolitical aspect, especially between Indonesia and WTO, you are in doom, guys. If you are just shorting it without thinking along consequential. And also, this is a remember as always for all of the investors that we need to diversify our portfolio and hedging our risk with other assets or instruments. True. Okay, maybe that's all for this episode of the video. Hopefully, we can always learn something new. We can always improve day by day, and we are humanizing human in this earth of mankind. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.